Hey, what's going on YouTube? MC Seth here, coming at you from the spare room. This time we're going to be talking about the Photoshop basics and, some basic things that you can do to help make your life easier in Photoshop, like using shortcuts and stuff like that. So without further ado, let's get into it. Right, so those of you who don't know, I'm MC Seth. I run the Serial Carnage YouTube channel, and I basically give tips, tricks and tutorials about how to make your print-on-demand business as good as it can be. And today we're going to be talking Photoshop. So without further ado, I'm just going to flick you over to the other screen here. And you can see I've got a blank, well, semi-blank thing here. Right, now what you can see is this is my KDP template. So if you're on Kindle by Direct Publishing, this is going to be really helpful for you because this is what I've chosen to use today. Excuse me. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull up one of my existing designs and show you what I do to make a Kindle design book. Now I've already downloaded the template from them, which you can do on their website if you just sign in and download the template. Now the first thing I do is I just drop the design straight on there, and it comes up like this. So I have to resize it so it fills the gap at the top and the bottom. Now all your designs will be different because there'll be different sizes or whatever, unless you make everything the same size. So I just hold Alt. So I'll just go back. First thing I do is hold Alt and then drag this, and what that does, it keeps the design centralized. So the center of the design is still in the middle, and just pull it just past the edges and hit enter. And you can see now that's there. Now it's on top of everything, which isn't ideal, so I'm just going to bring it down below the text, because an important thing to remember about Kindle Direct Publishing is that you need to have the title of the book either on the front cover or on the spine. If it doesn't have the title on either of those two, it will get rejected, so just make sure. Now if I just turn this off, you can see I've got a black background. Now a lot of you will use this because you have designs that just feature some text, a picture and some text, and you'll need a background. Now most of the time I just use black, but you can change this if you just double click this color fill button. Actually what I'll do is I'll get rid of that and I'll show you how to get that in. So what you do is you come down here and you just make a new layer. Nope, that wrong button, sorry, ignore me there. You click this button here and go up and add solid color. Now it doesn't matter at first, just press OK, because you can change your color later, and just drag that down to the bottom because that's going to be your background. Now you can turn it off or turn it on depending on what you need, and just double click this part and you can choose any color you want. Okay, but for this design it's actually just a pattern. So how do you know that this text here is in the middle? Now with the template you get this thing. Now it's filled in here in the middle, so you have to delete those parts, and you can do that just by using this tool here, which is the magic wand tool. I always forget what that's called, and you just click it and it highlights it all. Hit the delete button, or you can use a mask to do it, but I'm not going to go into masks today because we don't need that for this part. This just makes sure that everything's lined up. Now this pattern is not called Burnt Sunset Yoga, that was another pattern of mine. So what you do is, to keep things simple, because my design is named Rainbow Marble 1, just double click that writing and copy that. And if I wanted to change this text, I've got a couple of options now. Because I'm on the magic wand tool, it's got this no thing. But if I just go up to the first tool there, the move it tool, I can either double click this text to start editing it, or I can double click this icon and just hit Control V, and that is done. Now one thing to note is that sentence might not be the same length as the other sentence, so one thing else you've got to do is hold Control while this is highlighted and click that one as well, and then come up here and you'll want to use this button, which is to align the vertical centers of each of these items. So once I press that, you'll see the text in the middle just change slightly. There you go, and now that text there is centralized, and this was already centralized anyway because when we dropped it in there we held the Alt button and just made it bigger, so the center is dead in the center. So that right in there is now in the center as well. And what you can do is you can turn off the background, and another trick when saving is just highlight that again, or if you haven't done that, because that's already on my clipboard now, so I can just go over here and I can save it. It's already going to be in my other thing, and I can just press Control V or right click and choose paste, and I can just paste the title in there, and that is that saved. That is that done. Simple. Now that's the simple part. The other part would be going on to KDP and actually uploading and filling in the information and stuff, but we're not here to do that in this video. This is just a couple of quick tips that you can use in Photoshop. Now I've already got multiple designs of this, and I've talked about scaling in one of my previous videos. So I'm just going to give you a couple of tips on that right now, what you can do to scale this design, and what I've done to scale this design into I think 4 or 5, might be 6 other designs. Now you'd go down to the bottom, I'd go and click on the top layer. So actually no, I'm going to teach you another trick. Click on your actual design and then click this button down here and click on hue slash saturation. Now what that's going to do is going to bring up this little thing here just above that, and what it will do is it will change the color of the design in the middle. Now if I had that hue saturation layer above the text and the text was colored, it would change the color of the text as well. So what you want to do is, if you've got colored text, is just put that above the design and then hold the Alt button again, and you can see that if you click on the line between the two designs, it comes up with that thing, and that's just going to create a clipping mask. So this hue saturation layer is only going to affect this bit. It's not going to affect the text, it's not going to affect the background or the template design, and it wouldn't anyway because it's below the text and the template design, so it can't change the color of the background. Now I'll just give you an example. I'm going to take that off and I'm going to change the background to red, and I'm just going to turn that off. Now you can see if I'm on the hue saturation layer now, it's going to change the color of the background, but if I clip it to that one and do it, the background stays the same. See? So you can just, and this is brilliant for scaling. I mean, look at all those different designs in there. There's at least 4 or 5 in there, isn't there? And you can do that with every single one of your designs, especially if they're patterns and stuff. It might not work for, you know, text, picture text stuff, but you can do that with all your designs. And I think that is all we're going to cover for today, because there's so much information in YouTube. If you want to know more, sorry, not YouTube, Photoshop. If you want to know more, the guy I learned from is called Umesh Dinda, and he runs the Piximperfect channel on YouTube. And he is the most awesome teacher you can ever find in the way he executes as well. His studio's the best, his, you know, picture quality is the best, and the way he teaches is the best, and there's nothing that you cannot learn about Photoshop from this guy. His name is Umesh Dinda, Piximperfect. Go find him and watch him, I suggest, if you want to become a master at Photoshop. I'm pretty good at Photoshop anyway. I've been using it for years and years and years and years to make templates and posters and thumbnails, so I know what I'm doing around here. But anything I don't know, I will go to him and find out exactly what I'm doing, and he's a great teacher, 10 times, 100 times better than I am. So this is just my interpretation of, if you're using KDP, then you know these are a few quick tips that you can use to make your life a whole lot easier. So that'll be that. And if you don't use Photoshop and you want to use Photoshop, obviously I've got a affiliate link down in the description below where you can sign up for their creation suite, where you get a few different programs, or you can just use Photoshop. It's up to you. You don't have to do it. There's obviously other programs out there, like I'm not sure on the pronunciation of this one. It's either Photopea or Photopea, and it's pretty much the same as Photoshop. It has a lot of the same shortcuts and stuff. Not exactly the same, but you know, it would do the same jobs that you need it to do. And there's a couple of other ones as well that you can use, and that's it basically. So I'm not going to keep you for any longer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.